Hello friends, and welcome to today's video. We're going to talk about the Winds Ready Summer Vacation. So I got my copy of their debut, and can I just say, I was setting this album up to be on this table, right? You can't see it. There's a gap back here, because I have what's it called, where it's the plug for a phone cord in the back. I have one of those, so it's sticking out, so I can't push the table all the way back. My album fell behind the table, and I had to move the entire table to get it out. So it has not been a good start to my day. None of you care. We're here to talk about the wind. So, just to go over this video is going to work. I'm going to run through the track list, give you my thoughts on each song, and then I will give this album a score out of 10 at the end. However, I do have some disclaimers before we continue. Disclaimer number 1. This album came out whilst I was asleep. So, I am a couple listens in. I've heard the intro song once, and then I've heard the title track a couple times, but I'm only a few listens in, and my opinions on every song on this album very much may change over time. Second disclaimer is, of course, my standard one. Everything I say in this video is just my opinion. You do not have to agree with my opinion because, as the mug always says, music is subjective, and that is great. Okay, now that we have all that out of the way, we can get started. And first up, we have Ready, which is the instrumental intro on this album, and it outsold. It somehow outsold both your faves and my faves. It outsold everyone. I don't know who decided The Wind was going to be the pioneers of music in the K-pop industry, but here we are. They put out a 30-second instrumental, and it's absolutely incredible. However, aside from the fact that it is incredible, I don't have really anything else to say about the song because it's 30 seconds long. Next up, we have my favorite song and the title track, We Go. And once again, we should all be embarrassed. All of our faves should be embarrassed because this literal children group, everyone in this group, not everyone, the majority of this group is under the age of 18, and yet they just devoured almost every aspect of this song. Let's start with what I didn't love, okay? We're gonna start with not necessarily the negatives, just the less positive items, okay? First is the pre-chorus. This pre-chorus isn't bad. This pre-chorus could have worked in a different song. The problem is with this song, it slows it down a little too much. I've said this about other pre-choruses where they slow it down but they don't go too far. This one goes a smidge too far. It's not horrible. I can get through it, but it does mess with the flow of the song a little bit. The other thing I didn't love was the bridge. The bridge is a little too shoddy for me. It veers too close to standard boy group sounds, which if you don't know this about me, I hate standard boy group sounds. I think they're too loud, and this gets a little too close for comfort, but again, it's not that bad, and it's also pretty short, so I can power through it. Now for what I loved. Literally everything else. First, let's talk about the verses, okay? The first verse is the vocal verse. I've said this before, I always consider a vocal verse a win. This verse, the first verse, is immaculate. The second verse has the rap, and the rap is pretty good. It's not the best rap I've ever heard, but in the Winds canon, it's probably one of their better ones. I mean, they have 7 songs. How bad could they really get? So, it's good. It's good. Plus, the rest of the second verse is a vocal part again, and that vocal part of the second verse absolutely slays. As for the background music, it is some of the best background music I have heard in a good bit, at least from boy groups, because it's so bright and it's so fun, but it also bangs, and it has all these little flares, right? There's a little flare right before the last chorus that I'm absolutely obsessed with. The one thing I will say about this background music that I have noticed since taking these notes is that at various points, it'll play what sounds like, okay, for iPhone users, you know that sound where you have someone's text open and then they send you a text and it does that little swooshing sound? I keep hearing that in the background music for this song, which meant I looked at my phone a lot, but I'll power through because it's not that deep, but it was just very jarring to me. We're getting off track. We need to talk about the chorus because this chorus, I don't even know where to begin with this chorus. It is one of the greatest things I've ever heard. This is very likely, maybe not my favorite boy group summer chorus, but I can't think of any that I like more off the top of my head, so it's definitely up there for me. It's just so bright and fun, while simultaneously being amazing and being too good to be allowed. Big picture, this is definitely the Winds' best title. I think it's probably their best song. I mean, to be fair, again, they have 7 songs, one of which is a 30-second instrumental intro. We're not talking about a group like SHINee that has over 100 songs. Like, they have 7 songs. So, while it's not as impressive that this is their best song, this is still their best song. And I loved it. Last but not least, we actually have the pre-release Summer Vacation, which I did a whole video reviewing. I'll put it in the description. I'm not going to get into it here. All I will say for this video is that I really like this song, and I've heard it a lot in the past week or so. But that's all I have to tell you about this album. So with that, it is score time. And overall, I'm giving this album a 10 out of 10. I'm going to do it. This is the perfect summer album. All the songs on it are just so bright and summery, and I love them all. My one concern with it, because The Wind has done very bright songs, it makes sense, they're very young, but I'm curious how they're going to adapt, because both of their albums have come out in relative summertime. I think their debut album came out in May. So I'm just curious how they're going to adapt their sound for winter vibes, because I assume they're going to have a comeback between the months of, like, November and April. So I'm curious how they're going to adapt. Back to the point though, this album is excellent. I loved listening to every song on this album, including the 30-second instrumental intro, which is somehow one of the best songs I've heard this year. So yeah, 10 out of 10. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to comment your thoughts on this album down below. Let me know what your favorite song is. You can also like and subscribe if you want to, or don't, because I will be okay either way. And if you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Twitter at s_albumreviews. I'll link that in the description, along with my review for the pre-release and my review of The Wind's debut album. And if we're in some distant future where The Wind has like 10 albums, all the albums I've reviewed will be down there, so you can check all that out if you so choose. But yeah, thank you again for watching. Bye!